and they were nursed in the legend by a she-wolf. You know, that's quite an uncommon thing for a wolf to do. You know, I mean, wouldn't a wolf, seeing something so helpless as two twins, take advantage to eat them or something? Maybe it was a partially domesticated wolf dog, she-wolf dog. In a transitional era, and it took pity, or maybe it's just a great story for the origins of Rome. Um, it's difficult to say, but what is certain is that there is um, a lot of evidence to suggest that dogs actually have a higher emotional ability to tell cues of what people are thinking. A higher EIQ, emotional intelligence quota, than some primates like chimpanzees and etc. If you look at gorilla societies, they probably do have a higher EIQ than a chimp, despite or orangutans. Those are much more peaceful societies than the sort of carnivorous societies that chimpanzees have, where there is a dominance and aggression going through the whole group. I noticed on one series about mountain gorillas about the kind of benign patriarchy, yeah, that mountain gorillas are saying, and don't get the impression that I'm imposing my view on or in projecting throughout this thing, because I've said about female dominated societies, male dominated societies, and a different aptness to conditions. That is what is the most important thing. What is empirically correct, not what is politically human correct. Should not do that by projecting that onto animals. But having one dominant individual with paternal ties to all the others in the group, the male mountain gorilla is quickly able to solve problems and disputes by simply just giving a look. No violence. I mean, there are cases of mountain gorillas killing the young of other other rival males, but it's very rare. Look at the violence in chimp society, which is more, in a sense, dynamic and perhaps close to what we would say is human society, where females will beg for calories, meat or fruit or anything else, for the favour of males, or males will share political affiliations and allow access to certain water places and other rest of it. Or bonobo society, which is based on bonobo chimp society, which is based on promiscuity. As sort of to reassure the whole group, which is a more female-dominated society. So females, in that sense, are using promiscuity to calm the group down as power play. But I don't think bonobo society is actually, or chimp society is actually a template for that we can impose on human society. But human society has imposed its meaning, certainly on dogs. Dogs don't seem to act in the same way that wolves do. You've got when you've got different feral packs of dogs, they interact with each other as though they would with their their former human masters, or if they've never had human masters, like they will. It's more of a social sort of club rather than a pack, where there's an alpha male, an alpha female, and it is a family. Interactions between dogs are, in that sense, play, sniffing around things and sharing information. So it's a more loose kind of club, basically, and that's much more like the role of that dogs play within human society. If you're looking at how human memes are imposed on animals, domestic animals or anything else. Which of course there is a downside for animals and an upside for animals as well. You know, the 40 half a billion dogs in the world. You know, most are able to breed, but of course the ones in most Western houses are bred from sort of stock lines, yeah, and then those end with being neutered or whatever. So that's the risk that dog species the dog family runs with human beings, and of course the use of them for specific roles, you know, either for in terms of being a gun dog, or you know, comforting, you know, a lonely New York 70-year-old widow or something like that, for toy breeds, you know, or to be pulling a sled, which is much more probably what the first wolves have done. Is they've actually done an experiment where wild wolves will pull a sled, or horses or anything else, you know. There's an upside and a downside. And of course humans are dominant in some, especially in terms of the agricultural animals, because we eat them, you know. But we are all dominated in a sense by the plants that we depend on to provide energy for all those systems. We have not yet escaped completely the natural world and natural resources, which is one of the reasons why, after all this length of video, I'll be talking in another series about how human beings make that transition to creating so many different new elements and materials and different energy types which have never existed before, and that will probably free us in a sense from the natural world, other than it just being physically restrained within the Earth, which of course we won't be going to any new planets soon and terraforming them. But I hope that people have watched all the parts of this series and have enjoyed it. Thus, you know, think about not only genetics but also memes, because of course within human society the different memes that we adopt and everything else are telling, you know. To just quickly conclude, saw an interesting video on the subject of theism and atheism, although the guy really explained atheism as agnosticism. Although I would say religion and atheism are actually, in my opinion, unscientific extremes of points of view. Not that the people who are promoting them are extremists, as of course, you know, Richard Dawkins can sit down with the Archbishop of Canterbury and they can have a rational discussion. But of course, memes don't. If we adopt some of the ideas within a meme, which is an idea that's recreating itself because other people are adopting it, is always because we decided that we adopted that meme, you know. Just like the wolf decided it was in its interest to be with human beings, although human beings impose their wills to some extent, you know, there was the wolf, when it had its chance to live in human societies, of course, it could have a payoff from that. In terms of human culture and memes are only there, and they're only apt because they solve our problems.